Hello, hi everyone. Today we'll continue looking at the Hongmao Certified Engineer question bank. Next we're on question 14. The main purpose of question 14 is to have us create a password vault. The main requirement is first to create one file. This file is actually our well. Here it basically means that this name is our password vault file. And in the vault there are two variables. Specifically, these two. Each of these variables has its own corresponding value. So variables and values, just write these two directly in the file. Then later on, it will be used for encryption. Yes, this is used for encryption. As for the password used for these, of course, the problem statement will specify it. The problem statement will mention it. And finally, our password is stored in this file. Well, this problem actually just involves three files, right? The content of this problem is made up of two variables. It's not very difficult. Compared to our previous problem, question 13, there's actually much less to write for this one. And it's also very simple, really simple. Nothing particularly special about it. Now, let's take a closer look at how to create this password database for this problem. First of all, what do we need to base it on? We need to follow the requirements of the problem statement, right? We need to create a file like this first. But let's not rush into that just yet. Because here, we actually need to deal with a few configurations. The first thing is that we need to go into our configuration file and modify setting. Why do we need to modify the configuration? The main purpose is for this. We want Ansible to automatically read our password from the specified file when it runs. This way, we can skip the step of entering the password manually. It's like automatic decryption. So both encryption and decryption can be automated. The first step is to configure our automatic decryption. Let's start by setting up automatic decryption. So now let's open our terminal and begin the process. First, let's take a look at this. Let's edit our configuration file. Open Ansible, CFG, and then we need to look for something. Password. You can just search for it directly. Just search for it. Once we find the configuration for the password file, we can stop there. Actually, you can search for more keywords to find it even faster. Of course, you can also just add it directly. That's because it's commented out by default, so adding it yourself won't cause any conflicts. Take a look. It's right here. It's commented out by default, so if you add it in, it really doesn't matter. It's fine. That way it feels more proper, right? A bit more rigorous. Next, let's specify the path here. So which file are we decrypting? This is also what the problem requires, right? Where's the password stored? It's stored here. It's the file path specified in the problem requirements. In other words, it's a file inside the Ansible directory in our home directory. It's actually not placed very far. It's just located under our Anthem directory. All right, here we need to write out the file name. Be very careful here. The file name must not be wrong. If the file name is incorrect, it won't be able to find your decryption method. And there will be problems with decryption later on. So here, we'll just save and exit. Okay, that's our enter configuration. After making these changes, the next step is coming up. We still haven't gotten to our password vault file yet, so there's no need to rush to write the YAML file. What do we do next? We need to put the password in first, right? No matter how you want to encrypt, you need to have the password first. So what do we need to do? We need to put the password required by the assignment into that file we just mentioned, because that file doesn't actually exist yet. Everyone, notice that this file doesn't exist yet, right? It doesn't exist. So what do we need to do? We need to import it. Right, just now, didn't we specify Ansible? How can there be Ansible instead of Ansible? So what do we need to do here? We need to use our command to write the password required by the assignment into where? Write it into in that file of ours. Let's take a look here. writing the redirection. Of course, you can use either overwrite or append here because the file doesn't exist yet. So either is fine. Then where do we overwrite or append it to? Actually, since we're already in this directory, we can just write it simply here. If it's not here, then you write the absolute path. If it is, then the simpler the better, right? Okay. After writing it in, what's next? Next, we can start writing our password database file. So first, let's first use our command to generate this password database file. Here, the command we use is actually, strictly speaking, we're first creating an encrypted file, creating the encrypted file first. The way to create it is to use create, followed by the specific path. Pay attention to this. Since my path is still under the ant directory, there's a very simple way to write it. Just use the file name directly. There's no need to write out the full path, it's too long. Just write the name of the file directly, but make sure you get the file name right. Okay, after creating it, we'll write the content into it. Note that we're not editing here, not using VM to edit. Instead, we're using a command to create the file first and then editing it. This is different. So here, we'll first write our first variable. Let's write out the first variable. As for the value, include it as well. Both the variable and the value already provided in the question. Now, let's move on to the second one. Here, just make sure you spell the word correctly. All right, once that's done, let's save it. After saving, actually, this question is finished. Yes, it's done. Basically, it's just about modifying 3 files. The first is to modify our configuration file, and the second is to modify this one, password file. The third is to create our password database file. Inside the content database file are our 2 variables. All right, that's the end of it. After finishing up, but we haven't verified it yet, right? We're still missing the verification step. Actually, this step is quite simple. Here, what do? We just directly use a command to check our current situation, to see what's going on. What are we looking at? We're looking at the file we just created. Didn't we just write 2 lines of content in it? So what's there to look at? But that's exactly right. That's how it should be. Because what we just wrote were variables CV1. Pay attention. We wrote variables just now. They weren't literal text. What we wrote just now were variables. So after the variables are generated, this is the result you get. If you can see this kind of content, it means you've done this exercise correctly. If after writing 2 lines, you still see just 2 lines of content when you check, then that's incorrect. Because we're dealing with variables, if your variables haven't taken effect, what does that mean, right? Make sure you're not directly editing this file in the VM. Instead, you should be creating it using this method. If you just edit it, then whatever you write is exactly what you'll get, right? If you edit it directly, then actually, right, that's actually what happens, isn't it? It will turn into that. So here, what we need to do is use this yes. We need to use our creation command to create it. If you edit it in the VM, whatever you write is what you'll see when you use cat. But this time, when we use the answer command to create our password vault file, it will call those 2 variables and then generate our final password vault file. So what do we do with the password vault file after it's generated? We'll use it latterus. We'll use it later. We'll mention it again in the following sections. This is our next point. Question 14, creating the password vault. The main thing to pay attention to is using this command, just make sure not to use the VM. That's the only point you need to be careful about for this question. All right, that's our question 14. If you need the complete question bank, you can leave a comment below and get the most reliable question bank at the best price. That's all for today, everyone. Bye-bye.